So we're talking about healthcare technology. So technology in healthcare that might or might not make your life better and actually could, I think, cause harm. And I want you to be aware of some of these technologies. And we talked about the first technology was AI in healthcare. So artificial intelligence within healthcare with the goal of improving your life. And we talked about some of the slippery slopes that can exist when it comes to contact tracing. So contact tracing is pitched as this idea that it is an app that can now detect if you've been around somebody who's had a disease or infectious disease like COVID-19 and then alerts your contact list and we're all connected. You've heard that we're all 6 degrees separation, so 6 degrees away from somebody. Well, here's the reality now is now through technology, they'll be able to alert you and your friends if you've been exposed to somebody or if you were around somebody who was exposed. Sounds great. There could be a slippery slope. We talked about that. And now this last one that we want to talk about when it comes to technology in healthcare is apps that are health monitoring. So that might sound great to have apps to monitor your health. And Samson just came out with this ability to now monitor blood pressure on an application. There's those who are working on now having EKGs to monitor your heart rate and the function of your heart through an application. And again, that might sound great. We know we can already do pulse rate and we can already do several other things. It might sound great, but here's what they're suggesting is that this be linked to insurance companies and this be linked to doctors' offices, electronic health records. And so just think about this. Think about the implications with life insurance. Think about the premiums that we now know that many people now have an arrhythmic heart if you detected it 24/7. So if you have an arrhythmic heart, if you detected it 24/7, well, now what happens is now you're going to have a lot of people who it looks like they have an arrhythmic heart, yet they actually don't. So what does that mean? Your life insurance policy goes up. It could be canceled. It could be that your insurance premiums go up. It could mean that now there's an alert that goes to your doctor and now it's on your health records. There's so many things that can happen with this and it can be a slippery slope. And so understanding that maybe some of this technology can be a slippery slope where we don't actually want that much invasion when it comes to our health. Now there's some good things when it comes to technology and it comes to these applications in health. One of them is fitness tracking. Fitness tracking can be excellent when it comes to tracking your heart rate when you're out there cycling or biking or running or jogging or walking. And now you can track your heart rate when you're exercising. That can be great as long as that technology and as long as that information stays within that application and there's not a bigger corporation who buys it, that's great. But we know that happens. Just look at the merger with Fitbit here recently. We know that that is a potential and a possibility. But tracking your fitness can be an excellent way to just have a better understanding of your body. And candidly, we use a lot of technology when it comes to what we do. And not only in my physical clinic, but when it comes to scanning the nervous system, there's technology that allows you to see different parameters of when the nerves are being interfered with, when there's inflammation, when there's muscle imbalances. There's lots of technology that can detect really critical things that are important when it comes to our health. So we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. Another example is X-ray analysis. I mean, that is it's actually old, very old technology in healthcare, but now we can digitize that. Now we can mark those X-rays up with very specific lines, measure with very specific angles. We can zoom in, we can change all the different densities. It's pretty incredible what technology has allowed us to do. With labs now, when we do nutrient testing and toxicity testing that we do in the clinic and we send these out to labs, they send us back reports and they show us, hey, this person is lead toxic, aluminum toxic, mercury toxic. This person has these markers of nutrient imbalances, nutrient deficiencies. It's incredible what we're able to do and then make customized recommendations based off of all this. The challenge is this slippery slope of using that and then abusing that. It's when that information is no longer yours. When you lose freedoms because of that information, that's when technology in healthcare becomes a problem. And so understanding this and understanding that hey, when it comes to my health is my own. I own my health. You own your health. You and I, we have to take full responsibility over our health. And when we do, our outcomes are just that much better. Because when we trust an insurance company, listen, it actually says in the Medicare's guidelines, we don't cover services that seek to prevent disease, promote health, or enhance one's quality of life. That's in Medicare. So think about this. If that's the case, and Medicare flat out just tells you that's not their responsibility to own your health, and all the companies, by the way, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Aetna, they all follow Medicare's guidelines. If it's not their responsibility, whose responsibility does it have to be? It's got to be ours. You and I both have been scenarios. When I had one of my children broke his arm, and it broke it in two places, and we go to check out, and here's the bill, and it was X dollars, and I say, well, we're going to do self-pay, because we don't participate in the insurance game. And she said, hey, let me refactor that. And it ended up being a quarter of the cost of what the original cost was, just because we're self-pay. This is the reason why in my clinic, we don't let insurance dictate care. We check your insurance for you as a complimentary service to see if there's anything that could possibly help you when it comes to our recommendations. But we don't look at that and say, here's what your insurance will cover and here's what you're going to get because of that. That's so backwards. In fact, with the insurance rates, if I use the insurance rates when it comes to the recommendations for care, it would be astronomically more when it comes to expense when it comes to their usual and customary rates. Their rates are much higher than my rates. And because of that, it would be nearly impossible to see and help whole families. I believe in whole family healthcare. I believe in that so strongly. Whole family healthcare, because when one person gets well and the rest of the family continues living the toxic life that got them there, it's very likely that one person is going to fall back into the same rhythms and same lifestyle that caused it in the first place. I believe in whole family care and a full family understanding of what health really is, true health care. And so understanding that, if my rates, and I use the same rates as the insurance companies, it's going to be astronomical. And guess who's not going to end up getting care? The rest of the family. And so because we believe so strongly in a whole family healthcare, we work extremely hard to make sure our rates are as low as they possibly can be, with also the same quality and same value in maintaining that. So understanding that is so essential. And I had a lady come into my clinic who she came into the clinic and she had been to several different chiropractors in the area, and she didn't feel like anyone was able to help her. And the reason why she came in is kind of a last-ditch effort, because she not only went to chiropractor, she did physical therapy, she saw an osteopath, and she was taking medications. But here she is. She's a person who really does not want to be on medications, yet she's had these migraine headaches. And if you know anyone who's had migraine headaches can be absolutely debilitating. And that person who has them frequently, they're going to look for anything possible to correct their headaches. They don't want to live that way. Can't be in a light lit room. They are struggling with noises many times. And depending on the frequency, man, this can be devastating for this person. And this person, this lady who is in the clinic, she has been getting these migraine headaches every week for the past 15 years. So just think about that. That's 52 migraine headaches every single year for the past 15 years. It literally takes her out. And so can't be in a well-lit room. Sounds are just terrible for her. She struggles. She's on multiple medications, of course. She's gone through the traditional medical route. That's the very typical story that someone comes into, my clinic. They've gone through the medical route first, and then this ends up being kind of a last-ditch effort, or it's something that they succumb to because nothing else seems to work. That's really the story with a lot of natural health, by the way, is natural health ends up being secondary, whereas drugs and surgery ends up being first. My belief is that should be flipped. It should be vitality first, and then drugs and surgery secondary. I guess that's my belief. I see the outcomes of people who live that way, and it seems to be far better. But anyway, she comes in the clinic. She's gone through the traditional route, and we take x-rays because when we did a surface EMG scan on her, so a nerve scan, it lit up in the upper cervical region of her neck, so where the neck meets the head. So area right behind your ear there's a bone there called your atlas. And very typical, somebody with migraine headaches has a problem at the atlas bone. And that area right there is what protects the brainstem, protects the spinal cord. That area right there, if it's misaligned or rotated or shifted on any level, that's going to cause a lot of stress, a lot of pressure to build up there. And when you have interference in that area, well, those nerves that go up into the head, the blood vessels that go up into the head, when you interfere with those nerves, it can cause chronic headaches. So we take x-rays, and sure enough, the x-rays show and paint the perfect picture, because she has lost 79% of the curve in her neck. 79%. What that's doing is causing tension on the spinal cord. It's causing tension on the nerves, tension on the muscles. But the bigger problem there is what's happening at the top bone of her neck is her atlas. Her atlas is shifted forward. That's causing stress and pressure at the very top part of her neck. And sure enough, that's probably the underlying cause of why she struggled for so long. And we start talking about how to correct this with very specific adjustments and very specific rehabilitation to retrain the muscles and the ligaments long term so she doesn't end up like this forever. And she asks me a question that I thought was really interesting that I want to share with you. She asked, why didn't my doctor ever tell me about this? That's the most common question that I get. And the second question or like statement that I hear is, I wish somebody would have told me about this years ago. She's been struggling with her headaches for 15 years, guys. 15 years. Why didn't anybody tell her about this? It's not because anyone's a bad person. It's not because the system is out to get you. It's simply because the model of healthcare that we currently have in this country is a model of one that is alleviation of symptoms by the means of drugs and surgery. It's a lot about the symptoms and less about what's causing it. It's not about correcting of the cause of the problem so you live your best life. Think about that just for a second. If it was about that, then we'd consider the fact that it takes 40% loss of function before you ever get a symptom. So the fact that you're getting symptoms means your body's not functioning at its absolute best right now. And if that's the case, where should we focus our time, energy, and effort? Is it purely on disease management, or should it be the fact that we're losing function over time? Yet the vast majority of our time, energy, efforts, and research dollars and racing for the cure is purely spent on disease management. Well, what's more expensive, to focus on dysfunction or disease? It's going to be focusing on disease. What's going to take more time, effort, energy, and more dollars is going to be disease management. Now, where should we focus our time, energy, and effort if we truly are talking about prevention of is dysfunction? Catch it at dysfunction, find out what's causing there to be interference in the body's ability to heal, remove the interference, and let the body function and heal at its absolute best. That's really the goal of healthcare. It's really what it should be. And so in her case, we find out the cause of the problem. We give her a very detailed plan to correct it. We talk through nutrition. We talk through toxicity, some of the underlying issues that could contribute to the problems. And we give her a plan of attack that she can live her best life. And now I think about the fact that here she is now. She's migraine headache free. She's off of medications. Did that happen instantly? Did it happen like a quick fix, or did it happen in a pill form? Of course it didn't. It happened over her taking ownership over her health over time and working her absolute tail off to get well and stay well for the rest of her life. And now she has a plan of attack for the rest of her life that she can. And now here's the thing, is that she still comes in on a regular basis under more maintenance care, under more preventative maintenance. And sometimes I'll hear this, hey, once you go to a chiropractor, you have to keep going for the rest of your life. Well, to be very clear on that, just because you start getting adjusted doesn't mean you have to for the rest of your life. Now, do I make recommendations for my family, my extended family who I call my patients? Do I make those recommendations for more preventative maintenance after you correct the problem? Of course I do. Anything done for your health or well-being should be done and then maintained for a lifetime. Could you brush your teeth just for a little while, stop brushing your teeth, and expect no gingivitis or no cavities and never have to see the dentist? Of course not. Could you work out for just a season and stop working out and expect to be strong and lean and buff for the rest of your life? Of course not. So anything done for your health or well-being should be done and then maintained preventatively. Think about the person who loses 30 pounds. You would never go up to that person and say, hey, Mary, you look great. You look amazing. How'd you get that way? And she's like, well, I exercised. I ate well. I really watched my calories. And you say, Mary, can you imagine? You're going to have to do that for the rest of your life if you want to maintain that 30 pounds. You're never going to say that to her. Yet when it comes to the things that we do for our health, sometimes we get criticized for wanting to maintain good health. And listen, if you're one of those people who have been criticized in the past, take ownership over that and say, listen, I'm going to do everything necessary to function and live at my absolute best. And this is my healthcare plan. It looks vastly different from the rest of the world. I understand that, but this is my healthcare plan. And I'm okay if it looks different from the rest of Americans right now. It's okay to be odd when it comes to how you take care of your health right now. It is perfectly okay for you to be and live different when it comes to your health.